It's been a while since I've talked about my grid bot. So today we're going to get into the details on how it has been doing and surviving this crazy market insanity. So let's start with the equity curve. Hello, I'm Robert and welcome back. Okay, as we see on the equity curve, it's kind of hard not to miss the cliff. This is an area of the chart that, not for the market, but rather for some personal health issues, I don't ever want to see again. You see, starting around March 31st, April 1st, I got sick. The sickest I have been in 30 years. If I could have crawled into the deepest hole of the planet and pulled the planet over me, I would have. I felt horrible, miserable. And the sad part of it is I didn't have the headache, the runny nose, no sinus problems, no stomach problems. I just had a rolling cough that made me want to die. And it took a week just to get to the point that I could pull myself out of bed reliably. But during that period, I didn't touch the computer at all. I had no idea what any of my training was doing. No clue whatsoever. It wasn't until about a week later that I was able to get back up to the point of being able to even find out how my accounts were even doing. My grid bot did very well, actually, much better than I had hoped. It survived and it did its job flawlessly. This is one of those cases where automated trading did perfect for a passive system. I didn't lose my account, and I could have very easily and wouldn't have been able to do anything at all to save it. I am not kidding when I said I felt horrible and literally the worst sickness I've had in 30 years. But thanks to the grid bot and some well-planned stop losses that it placed on its own, my account is now back up and making money. We can see on the chart where I did make a few changes in my strategy a little bit. But it doesn't matter because it's still making money. If you've been following my channel for a while, you've noticed that I started a new series talking about lazy trading. Well, that's kind of where I've taken the concept of lazy trading and my grid bot and I put them together. We're going to get into that a little bit later, but for now, looking at just this chart, looking at the equity curve. Yes, I know the amount of money earned isn't award-winning. It's not staggering. It's not going to make me a millionaire. But realistically, considering the budget of my account, it's appropriate. It's reasonable. It's fair. Risk management is everything, and that's the point of what this bot did. It managed my risk. It kept me from blowing up my account when I simply couldn't get out of bed, when I could barely pick my head up off the pillow. It managed my risk for me. That is something that cannot be understated or overstated enough. Risk management is everything. You could flip a coin to figure out when to get into the market. And as long as you have good risk management strategies, you will make money. That is the ultimate edge. That is the one thing that a lot of these gurus and fancy YouTube channels want to talk about. never really emphasize. You don't need a course to teach you risk management. You just need to watch your account and not lose your money. That is the only thing you need with risk management. Don't over leverage. Don't get greedy. As long as you remember those two things, you are literally way ahead of the rest of the crowd. In the day and age of people wanting to live off of trading, thinking that they're going to be sitting on some beach somewhere sipping fancy drinks, none of that gets talked about it because it's all one big lie. That's not what trading is about. You're not going to be sitting on the beach sipping drinks unless you're already so rich it doesn't matter. And then you're not going to be trading on your own. You're going to be paying people to do it for you. So the reality of any of that nonsense is, realistically, if you're watching my videos, that ain't you. So let's get down to the live charts. And let's see what the live market looks like right now for my grid bot. Okay, looking at the live chart. Right here, right now, this is what's going on the daily time frame. And we can clearly see the positions I have on the right hand side that are open right at the moment. And it's easy to see where the grid bot is doing its trading from the small values versus where I am using the lazy trading technique with the larger values. This is a combination of two different philosophies that are working together in such a way that I get the best of both worlds. I get small profits along the way as these little positions are sold off. But when I get into the market and I think I've got the right place to do it, I get a bigger profit. In fact, if you look on the left-hand side, one trade I made brought in $1.46 for profit. So $1.46 just for being lazy about my trading. But taking advantage of the grid bot and allowing it to work also and picking up 18 to 30 cents per trade passively is simply making the entire process that much more resilient. Now, of course, we have to talk about the risk. And there is a risk that I have to keep watch on. For example, we see on the chart in the blue window, right now my margin is 12% of the account. I have to watch this carefully. I have to pay attention to how much margin I have used, and I have to pay attention to how much I have left. Those are critical components when you look at the potentiality of combining two different techniques. Not every strategy can be done in this way. Sometimes you could have a strategy that can't work with anything else. And that's just the way it is for that strategy. But for the particular situation I am working on right now, these two strategies work very well. And in fact, when I place my buy entry, the grid bot automatically picks up that purchase, puts it in its table for watching, and when it moves the appropriate 20 pip distance, automatically sells it for a profit. Like my lazy trading where I demonstrated the automatic take profit in the earlier videos, this completes that process for me. So it lets me go through and look at the chart, seeing where support and resistance is, and then placing those orders manually. So let's zoom out a little bit and take a look at the bigger picture of the chart and see exactly how that all fits together. So as we zoom out, we see my magic yellow lines, the upper and lower area of the market that I believe it is going to remain in. Now the background, that is the red here and the green here, that is the order book where I can watch the sell side and the buy side of the market. I haven't talked about that in the lazy trading series yet because demo accounts don't have an order book. But here on the live account, yes, I said it live, real money, we have the order book, and it is one layer more of being able to look at the market and see where to put my positions. See where to capitalize on what I think is going to work in my favor using the lazy trading technique. But we also see from the grid bot the regular process of the grid bot doing what it's supposed to. And that is the important part. The passiveness of the grid bot. And we could see, for example, how the grid bot even manages the reductions. And we can see how all of the orders work together and function nicely. All of this plays together harmoniously because it's the way I built this passive system. The goal of this passive system is really just to be a specific mechanism that pretty much makes up for my mistakes. There, I said it. I suck at trading. Just like 99% of everybody else, I suck at it. So I built this mechanism from 7 years of work and research to help me suck less at trading. And it has actually made me some money. But if we go back and we look at the market, we can see exactly how the upper range and the lower range come into play and why I believe this is where I should be at. By using these kind of techniques and combining them when you can improve the reliability of your trading. And from the standpoint of the grid bot itself, as we've seen with the equity curve and the live trades, it has done exceptionally well. Now let's go up onto the monthly time frame and take a look at the bigger picture. Take a look at what the market looks like in its entirety and where that is going to be for the future of trading. That is, where am I going to actually move to next? What will be the next areas that I can expect the grid trade system to move to? And we can see, for the most part, with the yellow lines, the upper boundary or resistance and the lower boundary or support. The buyers and sellers of the market have pretty much wanted to stay here. We see right here this giant swipe down was the COVID pandemic. But since that, the market has stabilized into a reasonable, comfortable range where buyers and sellers have wanted to stay. It's been a good profiting area. One that has left a lot of buyers and sellers with some very good profits. And that is the point. But at some point, prices could climb again above my resistance level. And I will need to adjust it, and my trading technique will need to adjust as well. And when it does, the grid trading system will take calculated losses and it will continue. But it will do so mathematically and precisely. And I will continue looking for opportunities through lazy trades to pick up these sweet side profits. For example, I've already talked about the $1.46 trade, but you see at the bottom $1.39. So the lazy trading system has added quite nicely to what I have the availability of being. Now let's keep going down through the actual transactions. And we see a normal trade from the grid bot at 30 cents profit. So if the grid bot can turn a profit of 30 cents for every position, and then my lazy trading can turn $1 for every position, we can see how those two work together to bring me even to better profitability. And because the grid bot handles all of the risk, we can clearly see how that works out in my favor. So let's see what else we see in the marketing. We see a $1.41 transaction. So for 3 positions using the lazy trading technique, I have made $3. Nice and simple, really. Okay, we have another lazy trade at $1.45 profit. As we continue to go down, here we have a grid trade at 31 cents profit. A grid trade at 32 cents profit. A grid trade at 31 cents profit. So you can see how I've managed my risks, how I've reduced my risks, and how I am now capitalizing on the additional profitability potential. All of this was because of the demo account and being able to actually see how things work before I risked real money. So let's go back to the daily chart. And let's go back to looking at the current candle structure. So using the lazy trading system, you can see where I have placed areas of interest and where I think this interest is going to likely go. We have a clear, definitive approach where we were at last week's high, and now we see another high coming up. So those two areas have allowed me to actually think about where I want to place a trade and how I want that trade to interact with the market once it gets there. Overall, the entirety of this process is just letting the market tell me what it's doing. And we can see that for the last couple of weeks, the market has been going downwards. Right now, it looks like a small uptrend, but we'll see. Will it go up more? Won't it go up more? I am holding my doubts because of what the order book itself is telling me. Remember, lazy trading is not sloppy. It's about educating yourself on the instrument. Grid trading is not sloppy. It's a calculated, methodical process that is designed to capitalize on market fluctuations. Combining the two, as I have done, with the grid trading mechanism carrying all of the heavy load, is simply a match made in heaven. If you like this kind of a video, please hit that thumbs up button so I can grow this channel. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about grid trading or lazy trading or combining the two into one unique system. Share your thoughts. Thank you for watching.